Now we're fucking recording.
Finally. Gosh.
Whatever.
I've been waiting.
No, you haven't.
Miss, let's get started then. Oh, I have to pee.
Whatever. Bodies happen. Get over it.
Bodies happen.
Sounds like the motto of a serial killer.
It does.
Well,
hey,
bodies happen.
Did they happen? Officer, Your Honor.
Honestly, that should be like the advertisement for the body farms. Bodies happen.
Hey, they happen.
Bring them here. Your local body farm.
Come watch them decompose.
Dude, if only.
Yeah, you if only. Me, I'm just thinking about smell. I'm just like, no.
Oh, I know it'd smell horrible, but you just shove Vicks Vapor Rub in your nose and then you can see the decomposing bodies.
I don't want to...
I don't know why I'm fascinated with the body farm, but like for real, when I die, please give me to the body farm.
And now we know.
It's on record.
Yeah.
I want to go to the body farm when I die.
I'm going to be turned into a tree.
Yeah, I know. You're a Buddhist.
Shut up.
I'm not saying that as an offensive thing. I'm just mentioning. Anyways, hey everybody. Okay. Welcome to episode 3 of Another Nightmare.
Sorry. What's this one gonna be about?
Your mother. Hi Mary, I love you.
Not me, Mom.
I know your mom listens to this.
I think she does. She listened to the first one, so.
Yeah. I think she was planning on listening to the second one. I don't know if she has yet.
Hopefully.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So this week we're on another haunting tale. Back to the good old haunts. So this week we're going to talk about Moundsville Penitentiary, also known as West Virginia Penitentiary.
Okay. Moundsville.
Yes. So.
Interesting.
It's obviously a prison.
Yep.
And as we all know, prisons are not cool places.
Not really.
I mean.
You get put in them.
No shit.
Sorry.
But no, the American prison system is like scary as fuck. Like, let's be real here. A lot of trauma. A lot of not that great of things. Kind of sad.
Moving on.
So, the Moundsville Penitentiary is a prison in Moundsville, West Virginia. Go fucking figure. Sorry.
No, it's accurate.
Sorry, we're a little bit loopy. It's a lot later than we normally record.
Yeah, we decided to.
We took a nap today instead
lazy.
of recording. So, yeah. Anyways, so this prison was built in a Gothic style based on a prison in Joliet, Illinois, complete with turrets and battlements. It was in operation from 1876 to 1995 and is now mostly a tourist attraction and training facility.
Okay.
So, during the Civil War, West Virginia seceded from Virginia at the height of the Civil War in 1863.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They didn't agree with Virginia. They were like, nah, fuck this. We don't want to.
We
don't want a part of this.
Peace.
So as a result, they had a hard time housing their prisoners because they were not an established state, so they didn't have their own state prisons. The governor was repeatedly denied his request for a prison.
Okay.
The state legislator first directed him to send prisoners to prisons outside of the state or to use county jails that were just not adequate for long-term housing of prisoners.
Right.
You know, because jails are a temporary hold.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think it's like here in Washington State, it's like if your sentence is less than 1 year, you stay in a jail. If it's more than 1 year, you go to a prison.
I have no idea.
I'm not entirely sure. I've never been on the wrong side of the law.
Good one.
I don't know. I'm weird. Anyways, so they continued to drag their feet on the issue until 1865 when 9 inmates escaped and the press got behind the cause.
Okay. Awesome.
They approved the purchase of 10 acres just outside the city limits of Moundsville for $3,000 on February 7th, 1866.
Okay.
That summer, they built a temporary prison nearby, which gave the officials time to pick a design for the permanent building.
Hell yeah.
They decided
no.
They decided to base their design on the Northern Illinois Penitentiary at Joliet. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know.
Sorry, Joliet. Joliet.
You're thinking Jolene.
I know, but Jolette's better.
Don't you dare disrespect the queen. Dolly Parton is... I love Dolly Parton.
Now we all know.
So they used prison labor during the construction process, and the total cost of the prison was $363,061.
Back then?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah, I didn't do a conversion calculator, so...
That's a lot of moolah.
Yeah, even in today's standards, that's a lot of money.
Well, it'd be...
The prison officially opened in 1876 and held 251 male inmates, some of which were involved in the construction process of the building. So how fun would that be?
That
build a
sucks
prison and
so
then they're
bad.
like... they're like, hey, guess what?
I built this for you. Now get in.
Well, it's not even I built this for you. It's you built this for you.
Now get in.
You remember building this toilet facility? Hope you did a good job, motherfucker.
Oh, man. Oh, that's the one place I took it easy. Oh, no.
I didn't think it would matter. So the building was divided into 4 sections.
Okay.
There was the North Hall, which was known as the Alamo, which was for men whose behavior required them to be contained in their cells for 22 to 24 hours per day. So that's like the maximum security wing of the prison. That's where the baddies go.
Damn.
I sounded like an old lady. That's where the baddies go. I am 800 years old after all, so.
Just stretch.
I'm 800. I could die.
Broke a hip.
So the next section is called New Wall and was for normal everyday assortment of prisoners.
New Wall. Here's the new wall.
Rat Row.
Darn it.
Which sounds like Scooby-Doo saying, uh-oh. Rat Row was for prisoners that had snitched on and testified against their peers and needed special protection.
Well, fuck, everybody knows they're in there. The name...
Well, yeah,
Dang.
but that's why it was called Rat Row, is, you know.
That's where the rats go.
And, yeah, they were, you know, in their own special unit where they couldn't be reached by the other prisoners because, yeah, had they been in Gen Pop, they would have been killed. For sure. Because, as mentioned before, snitches get stitches.
What row?
You mean Rat Row.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So then the last one was Honor Hall and was for prisoners who had earned special privileges and decreased security. So, you know, the goody two-shoe prisoners got to go to Honor Hall.
Of course.
Yeah.
Being on the honor roll.
I didn't try to be on the honor roll or anything. I didn't want to be there.
I was a rebel.
So in addition to construction, the inmates also worked in the prison's carpentry shop, paint shop, wagon shop, stone yard, brickyard, blacksmith, tailor, bakery, and hospital.
I wonder how much lead they had in that paint.
As long as you don't eat it, you're fine. Could be worse. It could be what was that glow paint that was made from like nuclear material?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then like the men creating the paint wore protective equipment, and then the women who were painting it on the watches were encouraged to lick the brushes as they were painting to keep a nice fine tip, and then they all horribly died of radiation poisoning, and then the company was like, "Oh no."
I don't recall.
Yeah, that's not this story anyways.
Different story. Gosh.
So the prison made nearly enough money from their farm, and the inmate labor to become virtually self-sufficient.
Nice. I guess.
That's pretty awesome,
Yeah.
honestly. Instead of,
At least,
taxes having to pay for a prison that's privately owned. That's pretty cool.
What are you talking about today?
I mean, right. Yeah, moving on.
This is in the 1800s. God.
In 1921.
We've evolved.
Yeah. You mean devolved?
What?
At least people shower now, I guess.
God damn.
So in 1921, the prison opened a coal mine about a mile away from the prison, which helped fill some of the prison's energy needs and saved the state approximately $14,000 a year.
Nice. That's nice.
They even allowed some of the inmates working there to stay at the mine's camp under supervision of the foreman, who wasn't actually an employee of the prison.
Okay. So, kind of.
But yeah, I mean, he was there to at least supervise and be like, and notify them if somebody tried to run away. But yeah, he wasn't technically an employee of the prison. He owned the mine.
All right.
But, pretty cool. According to the warden's report, conditions at the prison were good at the turn of the 20th century. It stated, quote, both the quantity and the quality of all purchases of material, food, and clothing have been very gradually but steadily improved, while the discipline has become more neatly perfect and the extraction of labor less stringent.
Was that a quote?
Yeah.
Quotes are hard.
Yeah. So then education became a priority around this time, so at the turn of the 20th century, and inmates regularly attended classes. They constructed a school and a library in 1900 to help, quote, reform and educate inmates.
All right.
The conditions in the prison would worsen over the years, and the facility was eventually ranked on the Department of Justice's top 10 most violent correctional facilities list.
Dang.
One of the more infamous areas of the prison was a recreation room in the basement known as the Sugar Shack, where there were instances of gambling, fighting, rape, and murder.
Brutal.
Yeah. So, eventually it turned into...
It sucks that we just got worse over time.
It really does. I mean...
Like doing good and then just tanked.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
In 1929, the state decided to double the size of the prison because overcrowding had become a major problem. The 5 by 7 foot cells were too small to hold 3 prisoners at a time, but it became necessary. So they set it up so that 2 prisoners would sleep on the bunks and the third would sleep on a mattress on the floor.
Cool.
The construction was delayed by a steel shortage during World War II, so the expansion wasn't complete until 1959. So they crammed 3 men into the 5 by 7 foot cells.
Jeez. That's
fucking fucked up.
That's brutal.
That's cruel.
Why do you even have to...
But I mean, that's the thing that our prisons are facing nowadays too, is an overcrowding issue. I mean, it's always been a thing with prisons. They're always like, and asylums, they've always been like, oh, we can house 1,200 people. And then like 10 years later, they're like, we have 5,000. What the fuck do we do?
Help. Help.
There were a total of 36 homicides that took place in the prison. One of the more notable ones was the murder of R.D. Wall on October 8th, 1929, after he snitched on his fellow inmates.
Uh-oh.
He was attacked while heading to the boiler room by 3 prisoners with shivs.
What's his name?
R.D. Wall.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well.
One of the most notorious criminals housed at the prison was Harry Powers. He used personal ads in the newspaper to lure lonely women into believing he was looking for love and marriage, but he truly only wanted to rob and murder them.
What the fuck?
He was arrested in 1931 and convicted of the murders of 2 women and 3 children, but it is generally believed he was responsible for at least 2 other deaths. He was hanged at the penitentiary in the spring of 1932.
Good.
I think he was the one that was named like the Lonely Hearts Killer, something like that.
I'm sure we could look it up and find out later. But,
yeah.
Or you guys can.
And
yes,
even good old Charlie Manson himself had requested to be transferred to the prison in 1983 to be closer to his family, but his request was denied.
Yeah.
His handwritten letter remains on display in the electric chair area of their little museum.
Okay. A good spot.
Not surprised that they were like, no, bro, you can't be closer to your family.
Suck it.
Yeah. Good old Charles Manson.
I don't feel bad. Not about that one.
It's hard to feel bad for Charlie Manson.
Definitely.
And I'm going to call him Charlie because I can. On November 7th, 1979, there was a prison break that involved 15 prisoners.
Wow.
One of them was named Ronald Turney Williams. He was serving time for the murder of Sergeant David Lilly of the Beckley PD in May of 1975. So he killed a cop.
Okay.
Williams managed to steal a service weapon from a guard during the escape, and once on the streets of Moundsville, the group encountered 23-year-old off-duty state trooper Philip S. Kesner, I think is how you say that, who just happened to be driving past the prison with his wife. Kesner noticed the escapees and attempted to stop them.
Fuck that, dude.
The prisoners then pulled him out of the car, and Williams shot him.
Why would you even try? You're off. Sorry, that's.
Kesner managed to return fire on the fleeing inmates despite being mortally wounded.
Fuck yeah, guy. Go out fighting.
Yeah. I felt super bad for him and his family.
It's
that is
up.
Horrible.
His fucking wife watched him die. Why would you try?
Well, it's his duty, and, you know.
It means he was good because he was fucking.
Yeah.
God.
It's sad. So Williams remained at large for 18 months. He sent taunting notes to the authorities and was put on the FBI's 10 most wanted list.
Piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
100%. During that time, he killed a man in Arizona named John Bunchik? Something like that.
Bunchik.
But he killed this man during a robbery and was connected to crimes in Colorado and Pennsylvania. He was finally apprehended after a shootout with federal agents at the George Washington Hotel in New York City in 1981.
Did they get it? Did they, shoot him or did they get him?
He was returned to West Virginia to serve out several life sentences. Arizona has attempted to have him extradited for his execution, but so far he remains in West Virginia.
Yeah. See, that's one of the things I'm down for. Is, just getting rid of them. No. Only when they do shit like that, though. I mean, that's he sent enticing letters. It's just a fucking narcissist asshole. That's just like, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm better than you. And then he goes and kills someone, and then he has a shootout, and they're like, and then oh yeah, we're just gonna make him serve his life sentences. Just end him.
Unpopular opinions.
Sorry.
Anyways, at the time, Marshall County Sheriff Robert Leitner was very critical about the poor police communication during the escape. The sheriff's office and local police learned about the escape over the police scanners rather than from the state police. Leitner said, quote, "It was a good 20 minutes before we knew about the escape. If somebody had notified us, there's a good chance that the sheriff's department and the Moundsville police could have been on the scene while all the prisoners were still on the block."
Goddamn.
He was also critical about the 4-state manhunt that followed when murderers David Morgan and good old Williams, along with convicted rapist Harold Growlers Jr., remained at large. So they really dropped the ball on this prison escape.
Sounds like police in the 1970s just... Well, it's not even police, it's just the guards, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because
Instead of
What the hell?
notifying the state police found out on police scanners of like,
yeah, why would your first call not be to them? Be like, hey, we fucked up.
we have a situation here. Like, get the fuck over here. Because, yeah, they could have caught Williams a lot sooner.
Well, yeah, I mean...
They could have caught all of those guys so much sooner.
Damn.
Yep.
All right.
On January 1st, 1986, there was a massive riot in the prison.
Ooh.
The penitentiary was undergoing a lot of changes, and it was causing a lot of problems. Security had become extremely loose in all areas. Most of the locks on the cells had been picked, and the inmates had taken to roaming around freely. Bad plumbing and insects were causing the rapid spread of various diseases.
Mm-hmm.
There was a leaky sewer pipe running under the cafeteria that made the entire area smell just terrible. The prison was also severely overcrowded. As we mentioned, 5 by 7 cells were filled with 3 men. Another major factor leading...
It's like they're just waiting. They're just waiting and watching to see what happens. It's like, let's just keep putting them in a little bit worse situation and find out when they break.
Well, I mean, at this point, the prisoners were roaming around freely because there weren't enough guards.
Or locks that worked.
Yeah. I mean, imagine being in a prison and you can just walk around wherever the fuck you want to go. I don't even
understand why it would be... Is it money? Is it a money issue that you just can't get... How would you not fix that on the spot? I
don't know. Honestly, is it the fact that like you don't have the money? Is it the fact that you don't want to raise taxes for it? Is it that the prison was privatized and they wanted to make as much of a profit as they could off the prison?
That's my question right now. Is how do you let it get to this point? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And this is in the 80s, right? 80...
Yeah. 1986. On January 1st, 1986. So another factor leading to that being the date of the riot was the fact that it was a holiday and many of the officers had called out of work.
Brutal.
So, they party New Year's Eve. And then, of course, on January 1st, they call out. And the prisoners were anticipating it.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah. The security is already too lax. People aren't taking it seriously, even though it's a fucking prison. So, of course, you're going to anticipate that the fucking guards are going to call out on January 1st.
If I showed up and I found out that half the workforce that I'm supposed to be working with called out, I'd fucking leave. Especially in that kind of position. I'd be like, I'm out.
Yeah. So around 5:30 p.m., 20 inmates stormed the mess hall and overran 5 officers, including Captain Glassock. Glassock?
Sorry.
Glassick. We'll go with Glassick. That sounds fancy.
I like Glassock.
And the food service workers in the cafeteria.
Oh man, I hope they didn't fuck them up.
The inmates held knives to their throats and handcuffed them. Several hostages were taken throughout the day, and luckily none of them were seriously injured.
Good.
However, over the course of the 2-day riot, 3 inmates were killed.
Okay.
The instigators of the riot were not prepared to take control once things had started. Danny Lehman was selected to negotiate with the authorities and to present the demands to the media, even though he was not part of the 20 men that had initiated the riot.
Okay.
Governor Arch A. Moore Jr. came to the prison to talk with the inmates directly. So the governor himself came down to talk to the prisoners.
Fuck. That's some serious shit.
Yeah. Even though there were already plans in place to decommission the prison, they were able to set up a new set of rules and standards for the prison, which is why they were rioting in the first place. In reality, this riot happened because of the smell of shit in the cafeteria.
How...
They were so tired of being sick all the time because of literal raw sewage in the prison under the cafeteria that they fucking had a riot.
Well, where else are they going to eat, too?
Yeah.
They're not going to let them eat anywhere else.
Yeah. So the governor agreed to build a whole new cafeteria for the prisoners, which is something that should have happened long before this riot.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, if they had done that, this probably wouldn't have happened.
Exactly. If they would have been more on top of taking care of that sewage issue, it could have saved them from having this riot. Maybe they would have rioted about something else, but this really boils down to the fact that the cafeteria was making everybody sick. Like, I feel really bad for all these prisoners having to deal with this. No, I know that they committed crimes and, you know, whatever and shit like that, but, like, this is just inhumane.
Yeah, it's a little bit...
It's a little too much.
It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they should be in there because of the crimes that they committed and stuff, but...
Incarceration, fuck. Yeah, sure. But don't shoving 3 men into 5 by 7 foot cells...
Have them eaten in a place that just smells like sewage. Like,
what? And is making them sick because there's an infestation of God knows what, and they're tracking all of that sewage throughout the facility, infecting people. It's just, it's not right.
No, none of it was. None of it.
So during the 1960s, the prison had reached a peak population of about 2,000 inmates.
Okay.
As new prisons were built, the population declined to about 600 or 700 inmates by 1995.
Better.
In a 1986 ruling by the West Virginia Supreme Court, it was deemed that the confinement of prisoners to the 5 by 7 foot cells constituted cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah. Good.
Within 9 years, the Moundsville State Penitentiary was closed as a prison. Most of the inmates were transferred to the Mount Olive Correctional Complex in Fayette County, West Virginia. A smaller facility was also built about a mile in Moundsville, like a mile away from the prison in Moundsville itself, to serve as a regional jail.
Okay.
From 1899 to 1959, 94 men were executed at the prison.
Oh, wow.
Hanging was used as the method of execution until 1949, with 85 men meeting that fate. The public was allowed to attend public hangings,
of course,
until June 1931.
Oh, take the fun away, God. No, we have nothing to do in our Hodunk town. Jeez.
I mean, 1931 seems like really late in the game to like have public hangings. Like, I thought that would have stopped a lot sooner. I thought hangings would have become more private.
You would have hoped, but I mean, lynchings just got started.
Well, lynchings is one thing, but professional hanging executions, I thought that was different. More of like an earlier thing of like, take the kids on down to the public execution and watch them dangle, kids.
Like, you made it too playful.
That's kind of how it was, though. It was like local entertainment, and it's...
Maybe that's why we're all weak now.
I don't know.
We don't watch people hang anymore.
Yeah, but have you seen our horror films and stuff? Like, we're a lot more morbid now. Yeah.
We don't get to watch people hang anymore, okay?
So the last public hanging was of Frank Hare for the murder of his wife. When he fell through the trapdoor and reached the end of the rope, he was violently decapitated.
Oh, Frank! Oh, man! I like that you said violent. I like that you said violently.
Well, that's how it is, though. I mean...
why did...
Hangings were such a crapshoot. Like, that's why it's like...
Man.
They really moved away from hanging is because, yeah, that was the preferred method for fucking so long. Way too long, honestly. But it's such a crapshoot because... You like when hanging first.
Are they gonna break their neck? Are they gonna not break their neck?
Well, when hanging first started, you just hung them from like a tree or a wall.
Yeah, you just pulled them up until they stopped.
Yeah, and you just essentially strangled them, which that took a long time. And then they came up with the drop method. And with the drop method, you had to measure out the rope based on that individual person's height and body weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could get the correct drop to do the whole neck snap, and then that would cause the person to essentially pass out, and then they would die of asphyxiation, but without all the struggle.
With the part that makes it scary.
Yeah, it was a little bit more of a humane way to hang people. Still fucked up. But also with the drop method, you have the issue of,
sometimes heads are just going to get ripped the fuck off.
Well, I mean, you could have the situation where it didn't snap their neck, and then you had to just watch them sit there and suffocate and
the whole
struggle.
reason it was made not to. You're like, oh,
yeah.
God.
And then the other end of that spectrum was literally just ripping the heads off of people. Like, that's a fact.
Bringing your kids out of that. Oh, shit. I didn't expect you to see that, kids. I'm a little sorry. Fuck.
Yeah.
I did not. Ugh.
Yeah.
Firing squad.
Yep.
Just fucking firing squad.
The
what
firing
the hell?
squad has a 0%, what is that called? Like the mishap rate, where like the execution doesn't necessarily go according to plan.
I don't know, but I know
firing squad
better.
is the only one that doesn't have that.
Yeah.
It's the only one that is like 100% effective, because everything else has had problems. Hanging, electric chair, any way of executing people has had problems, except for setting them in front of a wall with a line of men with guns, shooting them.
Yep. Let's move on.
It's gross. So after this violent hanging, attendance at the hangings became by invitation only. Which it's still kind of a thing with executions, is like,
yeah, the family.
It's like, yeah, the family of that was wronged by the person can be in attendance if they so choose, and then you have like certain state officials and things like that go to the hangings, and it's not a public thing. Like, that's why, like, when Bundy was executed, there was a bunch of people standing across the way from the prison in an open field instead of being at the prison or in the prison watching it, is because they weren't allowed to be there inside the prison. So they went to the prison to
watch the vehicle drive away with the body.
Yes.
And that was the confirmation for them.
Yeah,
because,
basically.
he wronged a lot of people.
Fuck Bundy.
Yep.
Don't fuck Bundy, but fuck Bundy. So Bud Peterson was the last man to be executed by hanging. He was buried in the prison cemetery because his family refused to claim his body.
Bud.
I mean, it happens.
Poor Bud.
Not poor Bud. He was a criminal.
Yeah. Sorry, Bud. I mean, Bud.
So after this, electrocution became the means of execution in 1951. The electric chair, nicknamed Ol' Sparky,
damn,
was built by an inmate of the prison named Paul Glenn. 3 switches were installed.
I like stitches.
Doesn't pertain.
I know, sorry.
3 switches were installed so that there would only be one hot switch, and then the other 2 would just be dead switches. But this happened so that they would randomly select which one was going to be a hot one. And then 3 guards were responsible for performing the execution, and they wouldn't know which one of them had the live switch. So it was kind of like that disbursement of guilt.
Yeah.
Where it's like a 1 in 3 chance that you're the one actually flipping the correct switch. So it takes that burden, that guilt away, because you can convince yourself,
it wasn't your switch.
Yeah, 100% it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was a 2 out of 3 chance that it wasn't me. That's a high enough chance for me to honestly believe it wasn't me.
Yep.
9 men met their fate in the chair until the state ended capital punishment in 1965.
Okay.
That's not bad. I mean, only 9 men.
Yeah.
By electric chair. Still rough.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
Old Sparky is now on display in the facility. I know.
The jokes of the...
Yeah.
We're going to call it Old Sparky.
But it is on display in the facility and is part of the official tour.
Okay. Let's go see Old Sparky.
I mean, maybe. So a wall in the gift shop also has pictures of all 94 men that were executed in the prison. So if you visit the gift shop, you can see the faces of the men who were killed at the prison by execution.
Cool, I guess.
Very morbid. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like morbid, but it's...
Yeah, it's like kind of...
it's a little too macabre for my taste.
It's like, oh, yeah. Cool. Thanks for showing me that on the tour.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I did come to this tour. So.
During its 119-year life as a penitentiary, the facility held some of the most violent killers, rapists, and other criminals, many of whom never left the institution alive. It comes as no surprise that this type of environment would lead to more than a few wandering spirits.
Definitely.
100%. Like, this is why asylums and prisons are known for hauntings, is because of the fucking terrible conditions.
Well, the trauma that they go through at them.
Yeah.
And then the death there, too.
Yeah. It's just...
why would it not?
How can you have a situation like that and it not be fucking haunted? Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
So, the first reason the place may be haunted is that it is reportedly built on an ancient Native American burial ground.
Good start.
Yeah.
Just good start.
Just like Poltergeist, right?
God, just a classic haunting.
It's, the biggest piece of evidence that this report is true is the fact that the facility is located directly across the street from the Grave Creek Mound, one of the largest conical-type burial mounds in the U.S. So it's literally right across the street from a grave mound. Yep. So logic dictates that that whole area was probably a Native American burial ground.
Yeah, and they just built right through it.
Yeah. The city of Moundsville actually derives its name from these mounds.
No, what?
That were constructed by members of the Adena culture. I think I said that right? Adena.
It's Ednia.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Pronunciation is hard.
That's why they called it Moundsville?
Yeah, literally it's called Moundsville because there was a bunch of burial mounds.
Oh, man.
You know,
we're creative.
There's some cities that it's like, oh wow, that was actually creatively named. And then there's other cities like Moundsville.
Like Moundsville.
Who's in that fucking, like, what are we gonna name this new town? Well, there sure are a lot of mounds here.
There's a bunch of mounds over here.
I mean, let's just go with Moundsville. No offense to West Virginians. It's just all of America. Get more creative with your fucking names. For real.
Well, now you're just going to offend Americans instead of just West Virginians.
I'm an American. So... I can say whatever I want.
Well,
I'm literally from the least creatively named place in America.
Don't talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
They'll hate us.
Salt Lake City. Oh, there's a big salty lake. And here's the city. Oh, boy.
It's perfect. Oh, my God. We're so blessed to have this salty lake here. It gave us the perfect name. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It also smells like rotten asshole because it's just disgusting.
And you want me to go there?
No, I don't want you to go there. I literally only want to go back to Utah to get fast food that you can only get in Utah because I miss it. Other than that, I don't want to go back. Utah, I'm sorry. I spent 21 years there and I fucking hated it. I like Washington. It's green all the time. It doesn't die.
Well, this half. It's pretty green.
Yeah, Western Washington is a lot like where I'm from. I mean, Eastern. Shut up. Directions.
Hey, it's okay. No, I was going to give it to you, but I knew that they weren't, so.
Oh, man. I'll be smart one day. Yeah. Like I've always said, I dye my hair blonde so people know what they're getting into.
Oh, man.
So back to Moundsville. Reports of hauntings began as early as the 1930s, when an inmate was often reported walking along the maintenance area where prisoners were not allowed to be.
Oh.
In some instances, guards would set off alarms, but upon investigation, there were no inmates.
Oh, shit.
So straight up, they would just see a person
just walking
that looked like an inmate walking in this corridor where inmates were not allowed. And so they'd be like, oh my God, somebody escaped. And then there would be nobody there.
Brutal. I like that shit.
Today in the Sugar Shack, that very terrible basement room.
With a great name.
Gross name.
Yeah.
When you know what goes on in there. It's gross. So, visitors report hearing disembodied voices arguing with each other, talking, and whispering.
Oh.
Some have heard unexplained noises and felt cold spots. In fact, the entire basement is reported to be haunted by a maintenance man that once worked there. It's always a maintenance guy.
It's always a maintenance guy.
I don't know why, but
it's just a ghost janitor. Don't worry.
Yeah. My high school, we supposedly had a janitor that was murdered in the building, and if you smelled cherry tobacco, it was because he was by you. Actually, that school was haunted as fuck. I have some scary stories from that fucking school.
Shit.
Anyways, this maintenance man often spied on prisoners and was quick to report any infractions to the guards, which led him to being stabbed several times with shivs while he was in the bathroom.
Damn.
So,
fuck.
It's actually pretty brutal. They basically dismembered him with shivs.
Jeez. Oh.
After his death, he was said to wander around the basement, and some people have reported equipment malfunctions in this area.
Oh, man. That's the good shit.
Yeah. Yep. So then, the North Wagon Gate, the oldest structure of the prison, is home to one of the prison's most active ghosts. This is where the gallows were.
Okay.
So this is where they hung all of those men.
Definitely going to be a hot spot.
Yes. Visitors say the area exudes an evil feeling, and they feel as if they are being watched. EVPs, which is electronic voice phenomena, if you're not familiar, basically, you use a recording device and you can pick up disembodied voices and noises that are being made by the spookers.
The spookers.
But EVPs of mysterious sounds and voices have been captured, and ghosts have been seen.
Okay.
The gate is reportedly haunted by the ghost of a man named Orville Adkins, who was executed for kidnapping a minister who was later found dead.
No.
Yeah. His execution did not go very smoothly.
Of course.
Oh, why would it?
Yeah.
While the noose was being placed around his neck, a nervous assistant opened the trap door prematurely, and Orville fell 20 feet to the stone walkway below. He survived the fall, but he was stunned and injured. He was then pulled back up to the scaffolding and hanged correctly. Supposedly, his footsteps can be heard slowly pacing back and forth.
Well, that assistant got fired. Hopefully, but
probably not.
No, he's probably still just fine. It's like, we were gonna kill him anyway. It's fine.
So the North Hall was the scene of 2 murders, and even though the inmates were locked down for 23 hours a day in this area, these murders still happened.
Yeah.
One was a biker named Danny. I mean, what? So one was a biker named Danny who was stabbed in the eye and died from hemorrhages. The second was a man named William Red Snyder, who was convicted for the murder and dismemberment of his parents.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been a rough childhood.
He was disliked by a lot of his fellow inmates, I wonder why, and was involved in many fights. He was eventually attacked in front of his cell and fatally stabbed 37 times. That's like proving a fucking
Jeez.
point. The hall has been the site of several strange things, such as photographic anomalies.
You got it.
I did it. Equipment malfunctions, and the sound of cell doors banging when no one is there. Many have reported feeling very uncomfortable there, and Snyder's cell is particularly haunted.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
37 times in the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross. In the solitary confinement area, people have often reported feeling cold spots and someone touching them on their backs.
Ooh. Creepy.
Solitary confinement would be a terrible place for hauntings too, because
you would see how bad it was, and then you'd be like feeling all weird and shit, and then you'd have like something poke your back. You'd be like, no.
Other hot spots include death row, the psych ward, chapel, shower cages, dining room, and boiler room.
It's just so every other room.
So basically everywhere in the fucking prison.
The whole thing's the hot
except
spot.
for like the warden's office.
Oh, it's the safe zone. There's salt around the freaking thing.
He's seen supernatural. He knows.
Well, yeah, seriously, you just named so many. There's other hot spots.
There is also one entity referred to as the Shadow Man. Because he is noticed in dark places and has no visible features.
The Shadow Man.
He is described as a dark shadow that is very intimidating.
Well, yeah, it's probably tall too.
I'm not surprised that there would be a shadow person here. Like most prisons and asylums have reports of shadow people.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the majority of shadow people are like dark entities. And so, of course, they're going to be drawn to these places of torture and,
just manifesting right there, just staring at you.
All
they're trying to do is make you scared, so.
Yeah. Except for the Hat Man, really. He just kind of wants to watch you, which in itself is creepy.
Yeah, you didn't make it better.
Throughout the prison, visitors and staff report seeing glimpses of apparitions, smelling unpleasant odors, demons, strange noises, and echoes, feelings of being watched, and disembodied voices.
Nice.
So, all your typical haunty haunts. Visitors have felt brushed, tapped, and even shoved by invisible hands. I don't want to be shoved.
I want to be shoved.
I don't even want to be like tapped.
I'll shove it back.
I just pictured you just like walking down the hall and you just get this like, ugh, and then you're like, fuck you, ghost, and just like shoving the air.
Yeah. I got him. I felt it. You don't know.
Cameras have captured ghostly mists, faces, figures, and orbs.
The faces get me.
I know, right?
I don't like it when they capture faces.
Like that one picture I showed you of that attic with the fucking...
The whole body?
Oh, that was such a creepy photo.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Moundsville Penitentiary is considered to be one of the most haunted prisons in the U.S. and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I definitely want to check this place out.
You can. There are tours available on wvpentours.com.
What time do they take place? Because if it's not at night, it's not worth it.
I mean, I think that there's daytime and nighttime, like ghost tours.
I'm going to find out.
Some of the tours offered include guided day tours, public ghost hunts, private paranormal investigations, and even twilight tours on select Fridays and Saturdays.
Thanks for finding out for me.
So that's wvpentours.com if you're interested.
That sounds awesome.
I don't know what they're doing with the COVID thing right now, but yeah.
Well, they're probably not happening, but still, that's super cool.
They might be. Their tours are still going on.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
I just saw that Bert Kreischer was on tour the whole summer, and I didn't know about it.
Well, I was meaning tours of historical places.
Well, I meant something else.
Yeah. So anyways. But yeah, so that's the Moundsville Penitentiary.
Wow, that sounds like really fucking haunted, and
Creepy.
I want to go there. I don't know why I'm just so fascinated by the paranormal, but like I really just want to put myself in that situation.
See, like, I want to. It's like when I get on a roller coaster, I'm like super excited, and then I get in line and I'm all excited, and I'm like, as I'm going through the line, like, the closer I get, the more anxiety I start to feel. And then, like, once I get up to that point where, like, I'm the next couple of riders to go on the thing, I am panicked, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I here? I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this.
See, and I don't get any kind of anxiety or anything until it's happening. Once it's happening, oh shit. But up the line doesn't bother me at all.
See, it's like the anticipation for me. Like, leading up to it, I get so, like, scared and shit. Like, right now, I'm like, yeah, we can totally go to Moundsville. It'd be super fucking dope. We can do, like, a fucking ghost tour. It'll be fucking awesome. We'll go in, like, the middle of the night. As soon as we, like, as soon as we get in the car and start driving towards the building, and, like, I see the building coming up, instant panic.
It more like as soon as we get into West Virginia, you're gonna start freaking out.
No, I think like getting into West Virginia, I'd still be excited. It's just once we're on the way to the tour, I'd be like, "Why am I doing this? What am I doing? What's happening?"
Was a mistake, and I'm just driving, just like I'm excited. I know you're scared, but we're gonna have fun. Oh man, no, I would definitely want to go to the gallows part, the gallows room or whatever, the gate, what's it called, the gate? That's I think where I would want to go the most. Just because I feel that there would be so much energy.
I feel like there really would be, like,
it'd be hard to miss. It'd be hard to miss it.
Yeah. I also I feel like there would be a lot of energy going on in death row and in solitary confinement areas, because those are kind of more traumatic places, especially like death row, because you're confined to your cell 22 to 23 hours per day.
Oh, and the Sugar Shack. I want to go to the Sugar Shack.
You just want to go all over the building, like, let's be real.
Okay.
See, like, it sounds like fun, but then, like, I'm just afraid that, like, something would follow me home.
I don't think so. I think anything that would be haunting there is there for a reason, and I don't think it's gonna, like...
No, but it's the thing that happens with ghost hunters, and, like, even people who aren't ghost adventuring, who straight up are just going on these historic tours, they get followed home by shit from these places.
Pansies.
I mean, think of, what's his name from Ghost Adventures? Aaron. He's got, like, 3 main ghosts that have been with him since, like, they started doing that show. And, like, he constantly has things follow him home. I feel bad for Aaron, to be honest.
See, and I'd try and make friends with him. Like, hey.
Yeah, but if it's...
Don't knock my shit over.
Yeah, but what if it's, like, a not good spirit that's, like, trying to possess you and, like...
Well, then you
murder your family.
Then you win. You let it possess you, and then you fight it in your body. It's the only way.
No, it's not. Do not. don't not do that.
Don't do it.
He's being a fucking smartass. Do not invite it in.
This was a good one. I really like this one. I didn't know anything about the Moundsville Penitentiary.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I honestly haven't come across a lot of podcasts that cover the Moundsville Penitentiary. Everybody seems to gravitate to other prisons.
Yeah.
But this one was another one that I saw very early on in Ghost Adventures, and I thought it was really cool because, you know, it's a prison. It has a good story. It's got a lot of good potential for haunting. Like, it really, there's a lot of things that happened in the prison to, like, bring it forward, especially just how overcrowded and stuffed that prison was, and how bad the conditions were for a long time. Yeah. For several decades, these poor people were shoved in there and just living in these filthy conditions. And that right there is just a recipe for bringing on evil entities. I mean, even not just the people dying in the prison during that time, that type of condition can just open a portal to bring dark energies and dark entities into the area, because these dark things like to feed on that fear and that anxiety and the anger and all of that. They get so much more from that.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they?
It's just a feeding ground for the dark entities.
And then just stay there as long as you can.
Well, yeah, because even when these people start to die, you can trap their souls there and then continue to feed off of their fear and their anger and their anxiety.
Facts.
So, I mean, it's very, very unsettling to think about,
it is,
you know.
But it's still good.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And like, it's definitely a place that I would like to visit.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a pansy. And I know myself, I'd be super stoked about it right up until we're pulling up to the gate, and then I would be like crying and be like, I don't want to do this.
It was a mistake. We paid all this money. We shouldn't do it. Oh, we're fucking doing this. Well, that was good. I like this.
Yeah.
Sorry we didn't have another intro song, but guess what?
We actually have a friend working on an intro for us. Our buddy that we worked with for a long time, Rob, is being super awesome.
Shout out.
Once we get everything worked out with him, we'll definitely get an intro song going, and then we'll definitely give him shout outs.
And then we need your comments on it, because we need it. We need you guys.
Speaking of comments, you should also go over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a comment and a review there, because that really helps us out. It helps out all podcasts. I mean, even if you don't have Apple Podcasts, if you could just like leave us a review anywhere, wherever you're listening, that helps us. It just lets us know like what you're thinking and how you're feeling about the show. Yep.
Lets us know your opinions and stuff, and we want that. We want to, because we want to be able to. We want to grow with the podcast and get better with the podcast and just see where it takes us. So.
Yeah, and we want suggestions on, everything, like what you feel that we could do to make it better, what you want us to talk about even. Actually, we are working towards possibly featuring listener stories on every episode.
I like listener stories.
I think it would bring a new thing to the podcast. And I know that like almost every paranormal podcast has listener stories, but that's what makes it fun, is like getting that story of some place like Moundsville and then listening to like actual people's experiences, like maybe not at Moundsville necessarily,
but at other spots. I mean,
but yeah, and then it's cool because like you can send in your story and then we'll read it and you get to be like, that was me, that's my story, now other people know my story.
Yep, we'll give you a shout out in the episode. And
and it kind of makes people feel not alone for their experiences. It makes
sharing your experience is just.
It's a good community activity.
Yeah, it really is.
Bringing everybody together as a community, which is something that I want to do with this podcast. I want to build a community of people that like to be scared.
So check out our Instagram and go vote for that, because we got our poll up in the story right now.
Well, it won't be up when this goes up.
Well, don't listen to me.
But overwhelmingly, people have voted yes. We are at 100%. Yeah, please start including listener stories. So here is your opportunity. If you have a story of something crazy, paranormal, unexplained that's happened to you that you want to share with the podcast, send it to us at anothernightmarepod@gmail.com. All one word, anothernightmarepod@gmail.com.
No caps.
Yeah, no caps, no underscores, anything like that. Just full one word, anothernightmarepod@gmail.com.
Send us those stories, and
you
we'll
can
start
also
featuring them.
You can also start sending us suggestions of places or instances that you want us to cover. Like, is there a cool story that you know about that maybe we haven't heard about? Like,
we would love your ideas.
Yeah, and if we get suggestions from you guys, we will definitely try to get that episode out a lot sooner than maybe some of the other things on the list. Like, any suggestions that you guys make for like, hey, I think you should cover this, I'm going to make that priority research number one. And it's going to be an episode within a couple of weeks.
Yep. It'll be fun that way.
I just really want your guys' suggestions and your input, and especially your stories. Like, I want to tell your guys' creepy tales because it is so fun. I love going on Reddit and reading those like creepy experiences that people have. Like, I love reading that shit.
And everybody has their own story, their own experience that they went through, and they're all different.
Yeah.
There'll be similarities, but that's what makes it really cool is that someone else experienced something different, but it was kind of similar to what you experienced. So you can talk about it.
And it doesn't just have to be something scary. I mean, it could be something lighthearted, like your grandma passed away and visited you in a dream. Like anything that you think. And it doesn't even just have to be a haunting of sort.
Yeah.
Have you seen a cryptid? Did you meet Bigfoot? Have you had a tea party with the fucking squonk?
Have you been abducted?
Did you see a UFO? Do you have a weird unexplained situation that happened to you? Did you see something that you're like, this can't be real?
Did you find one of the devil circles in the woods? Sorry. Just let us know what you guys are thinking. And yeah, send us those stories because it's going to be a really fun segment just to add the listener stories to.
Yeah. And if we get enough listener stories, we might do mini episodes that we'll probably put out like Saturdays or Sundays.
Yeah.
And it'll be a full episode of your guys' experiences and your stories. So, talk to your friends, let your friends know, like, hey, send in your creepy stories to this awesome podcast that you should also listen to, by the way. And yeah, so sorry to ramble on about that for so long, but we're really excited about it, and it's something that we really want to do. We want your suggestions on episode ideas. We want your stories. We want you to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Just search for Another Nightmare Podcast and you'll find us on those. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at OFUKYA. That's OFAKYA if you're interested. I haven't posted in a really long time, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get back into it eventually.
Thanks for listening. We really hope you liked the Moundsville episode as much as we did. Because I always like talking about hauntings. I don't know about you.
I love hauntings. It's one of my favorites. I like ghosts. They scare me, but like, it's fun.
It's a good scare.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. And we'll see you next week for our Halloween special. It's going to be super fun. Bye.
Bye.